Yo, yo, yo. Yo, yo, yo. It's crazy. Welcome to March 2026, man. Right now, 92% of developers are using AI every day. US developers. 41% of all code worldwide is machine generated. So, a new paradigm called vibe coding, coined by Andrej Karpathy, who's the founder of OpenAI. I forgot what this nigga is. I forgot what this dude is. Let's Non-technical founders launch $1 million software as a service products using natural language prompts. But here's the twist most people aren't ready for. This is not the end game, it's just the warm up. What starts as vibe coding in 2026 could evolve into agentic engineering, which is starting to happen right now, multi week autonomous projects, which also is starting to happen, artificial general intelligence, which will not happen in 2028 like they expect. I'm not sure what they think is going to change in the next 2 years. Are we going to defy the laws of physics in the next 2 years? We'll get to that though. And possibly, recursive self-improvement that transforms money, work, and power. Everything we know about money, about work, and about power could change. Yet, the people in power and with the most money, nothing will change for them. So be prepared, man. Be prepared. The people who don't have to work, nothing will change for them. We're going to connect the dots today. So we're going to talk about how software development is being re-engineered, why the memory chip price crisis is the real first real wall, because we don't have enough chips. And if we're going to make AI super intelligent, it needs to be able to do more computations per second. It needs more data. It needs the most data in the world for it to be generally intelligent like we want it to be. And I don't really think that's on the horizon soon. It's not, point blank. We're going to talk about it, and I'm going to prove it. So, the math to superintelligence could create either abundance or massive inequality. So, stick around. This might be the most important video you watch in 2026. I'm so serious. This transcends technology, it transcends AI. So, first, we're just going to talk about the vibe coding revolution. The core idea behind vibe coding is that software creation is becoming natural language driven. So its origin was in February 2024. Andrej Karpathy introduced the phrase, fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. By 2026, that experiment became professional reality. That is a reality. Everyone is vibe coding nowadays. So there are a few tools powering the shift. We've got Cursor. Cursor runs multiple parallel agents. It can refactor entire repositories. Cloud Code can search million line code bases instantly, and it can build nested AI mini apps inside of its chat. Now, this last one is a few different prototyping tools. Not really prototyping in the traditional sense, but prototyping as far as actually coding. Developers and designers used to go through this loop where they used Figma for designing a website, and they spent a good amount of time on that. Nowadays, you can skip that. You don't need to do that anymore. It's useless. It does nothing useful for any business unless it's a design business. If you're a business that's focused on actually providing utility to the world, why would you use Figma? In 2026, why would you use Figma when you have Reloom, which can auto create Figma designs for you? So if you need to really do that, then you have Figma. So we've got Bolt.new, we got V0, and Lovable. Those are all three AI tools that people are using to build apps. So you can give it a single sentence and have it deployed software as a service right away. So those do front ends, back ends, database, and authentication. You can do that all in one go. I've built many apps that way. However, there is more work to be done after you give V0 a prompt or Bolt.new, Lovable, whatever. That app isn't ready for production. The app is not ready for production. It gets you started, it gets you a baseline, but sometimes the skeleton, the base that it gives you, isn't even up to software standards or your personal standards for your business. So, with that being said, you need to have a very clear idea of what your standards are and what type of software you want to create and what goes into creating that software before giving a prompt to an AI agent. Because knowing the specs, we'll talk about spec-driven development soon. Knowing the specs is the key to actually unlocking the potential of AI in software development. So that's just the start. We're going to talk about the new startup dynamic where tiny teams of less than 10 people are now building very niche software as a service platforms, AI products, and developer tools with revenue levels of $1 million to $10 million in annual recurring revenue. And a new role has emerged. We have non-technical founders and non-technical architects. The barrier to shipping software today is basically a subscription, an API subscription. But speed has a dark side. This is what we're going to talk about. These are the hidden costs behind all of this AI development. AI accelerates coding, but it increases complexity elsewhere. So we have the METR paradox, the meter paradox. AI removes boilerplate code instantly, but it makes debugging unique or alien code exponentially harder. Developers now report 10 to 15 hours a week maintaining AI generated test suites that they barely understand. So there's an annual hidden cost per engineer of $39,000 to $58,000 per year in annual hidden costs. So let's talk about security risk as well. AI generated code shows 2.74 times higher vulnerability rates. So, example, Lovable has been audited in 2025 to have leaked personal data, and there are real world failure case of mine is this month, March 2026. I have an automation service that I had AI build that I deployed on Railway, and it's been causing a crash due to a JavaScript object notation file mismatch, and then cryptography migration errors. So AI hallucinated tokens. And that's a classic vibe coding failure pattern where you get a fast prototype but very fragile production. This is not the type of development that has built the legacy systems that we all rely on today to be up 99.9% of the time. AI did not do that. So let's talk about the pivot. The pivot is, like I said, spec-driven development. The core idea is structured engineering is going to return through this spec-driven development. So SDD or spec-driven development is the industry's response to this chaos that AI has caused. AI didn't cause anything. Our over-reliance on AI caused this. AI is neutral. So spec-driven development has been popularized by GitHub SpecKit in September of 2025. So the workflow structure is you have a constitution, you have a spec, a specification, you have a plan, and then you have tasks, and then the AI's implementation of all of that. So AI will work on 1 to 2 files at a time to maintain coherence and not create the technical debt that comes with having AI do everything for you at a time. So, Claude Code evolution in 2026. The major features of Claude Code are auto mode, which removes constant approvals. We have MCP, which connects live databases and APIs to Claude Code. We have Claude in Claude, which is nested agent systems. So here's the shift in software development. For software engineers, FANG hiring, so FAANG hiring, now prioritizes architecture judgment, system decomposition, and AI orchestration, not syntax. You're not getting graded on syntax anymore. AI has mastered syntax. So the winning workflow in AI spec-driven development nowadays is the sandwich method, where vibe coding is for ideation. It's great for ideation. You get things out right away. Spec-driven development is for structure. Agentic AI execution is for scale. So human value moves up the stack. Humans decide what to build and why it matters. And AI handles how it's built. So that's where we're at right now. AI can handle the how when given the right specs and the right why. AI needs guidance. Okay. So we've got the hardware wall in 2026. Software acceleration is colliding with physical constraints. That's the core idea of this. AI data centers now consume 70% of high-end memory production. So major manufacturers are shifting to HBM, which are Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. The consequences are consumer hardware. RAM prices are up 40 to 60%. We have GPU shortages, RTX 50 delays, smartphone memory is stagnating. We're not investing in smartphones like we are in AI. So developers are increasingly running models locally with tools like Olama. So there's a somewhat local AI movement going on where we're rebelling against the cloud computing that we've been relying on so much, paying for. And the benefits of using Olama locally are no API costs, full privacy, and offline capability. The reality check is every software abstraction still rests on atoms and electrons. So you take the good with the bad, you take the good with the bad, and there are trade-offs to everything, man. So what's the bigger horizon? The core idea is that vibe coding is step one toward much bigger systems. Here's the path of evolution. We have vibe coding. We've already surpassed that. Now we have agentic coding. Next is going to be autonomous engineering agents, which we are getting closer to every day. And then the last step is artificial general intelligence, which is going to be extremely difficult to hit. Maybe in software, we could potentially hit that, but there's so much data out there that's being generated by AI itself. Everybody's using AI for everything. So if we're generating more AI data, then AI is being trained on AI data. So there's a lack of synthetic data out there. Now they're trying to have AI train continuously on the same tasks over and over again and identify patterns so it creates synthetic data of its own. But that's limited. It's mathematically impossible for that to actually surpass, the general intelligence that we need to surpass a human. I mean, bro, that's crazy. So let's talk about some AGI predictions. Several researchers suggest late 2020s for AGI. And I don't agree with that. I think we're so far from it. Mathematically, we're so far from it. I know that. I don't think, I know. AI task capability roughly doubles every 4 to 7 months. So today we have, 1 hour tasks, and in the future we'll have multi-week autonomous projects, which some companies have tried doing now. We haven't really seen the results of those or whether they were successful or not, and we don't know. We don't know the scale to which they were doing them, but more and more we will be doing projects like that. If we can decrease the cost of credits and the cost that this has on our environment, everything. But we'll see. We got to optimize it as much as possible. And we're willing to expand on that because if we believe that AI will actually become generally intelligent, then we will dump all our money into it to make it happen. America will, at least. So we'll have no problem with that. And regardless of how you feel about it, that's where the world is headed. So step up or step out. Once AI automates AI research, AI can improve AI, which leads to faster improvements, which leads to an intelligence explosion. This scenario is sometimes called Foom. So this is recursive self-improvement. Now, recursive self-improvement mathematically dips off once you reach a certain point. So it could be explosive, but once we reach a certain point, it's going to just be linear growth. So we're not going to see the explosive growth that we've seen in the early years. Mathematically, it's going to increase linearly. So don't expect in our lifetimes for us to reach a breakthrough where we reach artificial general intelligence because like I keep doing, it's going up like this. It's going up like this. So the economic impact of this is if digital workers replace human labor, the labor share of income collapses, and economic growth could explode. Wage income could disappear, which means that the government would need to pay people universal basic income. Now, if AI really took away all these jobs, it would mean wonders for our economy, which would mean that you'd have to rely on the government to disperse that wealth equally. Now, how do you think that's going to work out for someone who expects the government to take care of them? How has it worked out right now? Before artificial intelligence ever existed, anybody who's relied on the government to take care of them, where are they? They're in limbo. They have no power. And you will continue to have no power in the AI world if you believe that the government is going to take care of you with a universal basic income. Or if you feel like you need to rely on that. No. So the historical analogy for this is horses to tractors. First, horses were complementary, and then they were replaced. Humans are complementary. We will be replaced. Eventually. Once we, surpass those laws of physics, that's when we'll be replaced. When we surpass the laws of thermodynamics and we have AI that can just do everything, that's when we'll be replaced. But until then, we're not being replaced. And I'm not just talking about software engineers, I'm talking about everybody. So, here are the possible futures. The best case is we have extreme abundance in society, we have a universal basic income, and we have shared prosperity. The worst case is extreme inequality and massive displacement. So, the existential risk is a superintelligence doesn't need to hate humanity. The problem is there's an instrumental convergence where, let's say the AI's goal is to make paper clips. The outcome could be everything becomes paper clips, even us. So if the AI's goal is to make paper clips, it could turn us into paper clips. I'm not joking. I'm not joking right now. It sounds crazy, right? Like when I first started looking into this, I'm like, yo, that sounds crazy. But if AI's goal is to do something, it doesn't need to hate us to hurt us. That's the scary part. AI isn't evil. It doesn't need to be evil to hurt people. So we'll see. We'll see. So right now, we're in the sandwich era. We're vibe coding for speed, and we're drawing up specs for sanity. We're writing our specs, having AI follow those specs for our sanity. But the next 2 to 3 years may decide whether AI becomes the greatest tool humanity ever built or the last one we ever need. That's crazy. That's crazy to say. That is crazy to say. So, do you think we'll hit AGI by 2028 or does it take longer? So like if this video changed how you think about the future, and comment your AI stack that you're using right now. I read every comment. Any comment I get, let me know. So subscribe for more deep dives into the 2026 to 2030 AI transition. I'm going to be talking about this for years. This is one of the biggest developments in our society ever. So I'll see you in the next video. Stay sharp, stay smart, work smarter, not harder. Use artificial intelligence. Learn how to use it. Learn what it actually is. That's all we can do. Stay sane. Let's go.